Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the Breeders' Cup from Del Mar Racetrack here on Friday. It's the 1st of November 2024. We're going to look at all of Friday's Breeders' Cup races, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me tomorrow for some more Saturday Breeders' Cup previews here from Del Mar. It's excellent Breeders' Cup this year. Some great wide open races, and you have some sunshine weather. So let's get to the races here on Friday's program. We're going to be looking at races 6 through 10. So let's get to it right now. The 6th event from Del Mar. It is the Breeders' Cup Juveniles Turf Sprint. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $1 million. Races for 2-year-olds here. Field of 14 horses entered here, but we have one scratch. The one horse will be out on bail, is out of the race. So the 15 draws in right now. So we're still to a field of 12 horses heading to the turf course. The distance of ground of 1,000 meters or 5 furlongs on the Jimmy Durante turf course. The rails are down for this Breeders' Cup. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the 7-horse Whistle Jacket. We're going to go 7-2-3-9 in the superfecta. 7-2-3-9 super. Top selection 7-horse Whistle Jacket. This 2-year-old called by No Name Never. Ian O'Brien trains this one for Coolmore. Ryan Moore gets the mount. The horse's most recent appearance came in the Group 1 Middle Park Stakes at Newmarket. Very soft ground, 6 furlongs the 28th of September, and he finished second by 4 lengths behind Shadow of Light, who was a next start winner. This horse just kind of stalked that day and just couldn't catch the winner who had the jump on this one, but he did get down the race course well. I didn't think it was a half bad race. I think coming to a quicker 5 on quite fast ground, which I think this horse should really like. If you go through the form, that's what he's been like. That's what he's been really running his good races on. I think he could find the chance to find the winner's circle today. He ran 2 back in the Group 1 pre-morning at Deauville, 6 furlongs the 18th of August, and he won by 3/4 in length. And from a tracking trip, he really took off clear. He quickened up nicely. They ran well that day. And then the Group 1 Phoenix 6 at the Curragh a week prior over the 6 on fast ground. He finished second by 1.5 lengths that day. He was often on the lead. He just couldn't get some clear running room late, but he got down the race course again okay. Coming here to fast ground, he should really do wonders. He's drawn, well on this turf course. He's probably going to move in a spot to post number 6, which is going to be good. I think he could find a trip to win. The 2-horse Asterisk for Archie Watson and James Doyle. Not a big fan now of the 1 hole. He's going to have to use some forwardly pace to get good position, but he can win this Chirico by Maymoss. James Doyle gets on him. He ran most recently at Doncaster over the 5 and the Group 2 Flying Childer Stakes, where he won by a neck that day. Basically on the front end, he flew home clear, quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. They took the horse 2 weeks prior to Longchamp in the 5-furlong Group 3 Prix d'Arenberg, where the horse won by 1.25 lengths that day. And from a tracking trip, he really, won over that tough 5 that day. He got up the hill well, an all-around good race off that run, and then behind Big Mo, who's run back this one today in the Molcombe at Goodwood. He placed behind him over the 5. He was a little rambunctious before the race, and he just wasn't getting into it, but I thought he loved the fast ground. He's going to get the fast ground today. He has some forwardly pace, which should do wonders on this turf course. He could definitely win. I'm going to use him on the ticket, but and I think also the 3-horse Big Moho, Tom Marquand, and Mick Appleby. Mick Appleby won this race last year quite nicely at Santa Anita with the horse that's running in this turf sprint tomorrow. That's name just escapes my mind. But this horse, he's only won once. He broke his maiden in the Molcombe Stakes in the Group 3 Molcombe at Goodwood over the 5 in July. Quite impressively after a horrible beginning, came back to run a decent 4th in the Gimcrack, and then had a good place behind Asterisk in the Flying Childers. He has some forwardly pace, but also he could track here, which I think should do wonders on this very narrow turf course. You need to have a low number of draws on this turf course. I think he has it. He looks like he got a good trip here from where he's drawn. 4-1, I would give him a shot in the pick 5 here. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Del Mar, it's the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. We're going to take as a top selection the 7-horse Whistle Jacket. Give kudos to the 2-horse Asterisk and the 3-horse Big Moho. 7-2-3-9 Super, 7-2-3 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 7th event now from Del Mar, which is the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. It's a Grade 1 event going for a $2 million purse. Races for 2-year-old fillies. Field 10 horses going 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the Del Mar main track. Actually, we have a field 10 horses entered. The 7-horse non-compliant will be withdrawn, so we're actually down to a field 9 horses. I'm going to go with the 3-horse Immersive as a top selection. 3, 5, and 9, 10 for me in the superfecta. 3, 5, 9, 10 super. Top selection 3-horse Immersive. 2-year-old filly by Nyquist. Brad Cox trains this one. Manny Franco picks up the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Grade 1 Alcibiades at Keelan over the mile 16th on the 4th of October. He won by 1 1/4 lengths and found a dream trip from the outside. He left to get good position. He saved some ground, which really did wonders for him. He's got the lead at the top lane, and then he flew home. And Eddie Byer, not as impressive as the spin away, but still, I thought it was a very good race. He's drawn well here today. He has some Farley pace, which is very good with these with the short stretch here at Del Mar. I think he could find a trip to win. 2 back in the Grade 1 spin away in the mud at Saratoga, 7 furlongs 31st of August. He won by 1 1/4 lengths that day, and he sat back early. He was a little bit wide, but he really got the turn of foot to go into it. Quickened up nicely. That was a good race. First time winners that day, 12.5 to 1. And then on debut in July at Saratoga over the 6 in the main special weight, winning by 2 lengths, closing up from the back of the pack. I thought it was a very good race. He's a versatile type, could set the pace or come from a little bit behind. I think if they run a race similar to the Alcibiades, she could win. She's training well at Churchill coming to this one. I'm going to give her a shot on the ticket. The 5-horse Quick Kick for Tom Amos and Dylan Davis, I think, could win also. 2-year-old Philip McKenzie. If there's a rider that's, just having a breakout season, I think it's Dylan Davis. He's always been good, but this year he's been exceptionally good, and it'd be cool for him to get a Breeders' Cup victor with the kind of season he's had. This horse ran terrifically, closing off the pace in the Alcibiades or at Keelan over the mile 16th, where he finished second by 1 1/4 lengths, came up from the clouds, just missed late, but he ran his heart out. The race was mile in the 8th with the second finish. She would have won by open lengths, but not a bad race in defeat. Broke her main a month prior at Saratoga on the 1st September over the 7 in a main special weight, winning by 2 1/4 lengths, closing up after not the best beginnings. She really came home clear late that day, and then on debut in mid-August at the Spa with the 7 in the main special weight, finished third by 9 1/4 lengths behind Lock Harrow, who's running the back of this one today. This horse was just wide, but she was gaining that day. She's going to get better with the longer distances. Back here at a mile 16th, training well and getting Davis up, who's really connected with this horse well, and run decent buyers that could do wonders in this race. I'm going to use this horse on the ticket. Even the 9-horse American Bikini for Ryan Moore and Takashi Salto, this Japanese invader, 2-year-old filly by American Pharaoh. She ran a Shokoya a few weeks ago with the 7 furlongs in a listed race where she won by 2 1/4 lengths and basically on the front end. She was flying home that day. Very fast track. She ran a good race. Prior to that, Kakura over the 5 in the main race, she won by 7 lengths that day. And again, with the bull ring track, she flew home clear. She has a lot of pace in her. She's training well on this track. From a wide poster, they're probably going to send. Let's see how far her pace goes. At 5 to 1, I think she could win. Even the 10-horse Scottish Lassie, she won at the Frazetta here in New York at Aqueduct over the mile a few weeks ago, quite impressively, by 9 lengths from a tracking trip after not the best beginnings. She flew home. Wasn't the world's deepest race, but still a very good run. On debut, going 7 on the 1st September at the Spa in main special weight, finished third by 6 1/4 lengths behind Quick and Snow White, who's running back this one. She was wide, and she just couldn't quicken up late, but she ran her heart out. Coming here, it is going to be her biggest test, but she's run good races and a fast race last time out, but that could definitely win here. But it is a tougher event. I do prefer the other 3 before her, but it wouldn't surprise me. Let's use her as an insurance plan, the pick 4 that begins with this race, covering the last 4 races on the program. But to recount my selection for the 7th now from Del Mar, it's the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. The Grade 1 NetJets Breeders' Cup Fillies going to take the 3-horse Immersive, the top selection. Give kudos to the 5-horse Quick Kick and the number 9-horse here, American Bikini. 3, 5, 9, 10 super, 3, 5, 9 definitely in the pick 4. With the extra payroll, we'll use the 10-horse also. But let's get to the 8th event now from Del Mar, which is the John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. It's a Grade 1 event going for $1 million purse race for 2-year-old fillies here. We have a field of 17 horses entered. 14 will go the 1,600-meter journey or mile on the Jimmy Durante Turf course. I'm going to go with the 3-horse Coretto as top selection. 3-6-1-4 for me in the superfecta. 3-6-1-4 super. Top selection 3-horse Coretto. 2-year-old filly by English Channel here. Grand Motion trains. Jorge Ruiz gets him out. Very big fan of his rides on the Mid-Atlantic region, especially when he teams up with Grand Motion. Striking at 25% in the last year, Grand Motion and Jorge Ruiz. So, it's his go-to rider. This horse ran here in New York, an Aqueduct over the mile 16th on the inner in the Miss Grillo a few weeks ago, finishing third by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He's always been horribly post-drawn. He finally gets a good poster here today on this turf course. Still going to need luck on this turf course, which you always, here at Del Mar, you very rarely do find the perfect trip. You always need luck on your side. But last time at an Aqueduct, drawn in the parking lot on on Rockaway Boulevard, it seems he had to be, he had to get good position, which he somewhat did. Didn't save a lot of ground, but he had a great turn of foot late. He just missed. He was going to go better with a longer trip. He's bred by English Channel by a Kitten's Joy mare. This horse could probably go a mile and a half in his sleep, it seems. But coming here to the mile trip, being forwardly paced, drawn very well, I think he could find the trip to the winner's circle today. He ran on debut at Kentucky Downs on the 1st September of the 7 in a main special weight, winning by 1 3/4 lengths from an outside trip. He left to get a good position out of the gate. He was still a little bit wide, but he flew home clear late. 72 buyer, very good race. He's training well since his last race. He finally gets a good inside post draw. He's going to be forwardly paced, I think. I think he could find a trip to win. I think the 6 horse here, Virgin Colada for Chad Brown and Flavien Prat, can win also. 20-1 here. I think it's a very wide open race. He ran most recently in that Miss Grillo at Aqueduct over the mile 16th on the inner, where he finished second by 2 1/4 lengths, and he had a good poster breaking from the inside, and he sat back early, stupidly wide late. He tipped out, but again, he was gaining some ground. Not a bad race in the feet behind Sky, who's running back this one today, breaking basically, from the inside. But this horse, she ran her heart out that day. She's probably gonna, be a little bit forwardly paced like she was or a little bit closer like she was in the PG Johnson. I think tipping out late, I think she could find that trip to win. 2 back in the PG Johnson at Saratoga over the mile 16th. She finished second by a half a length by Totally Justified, who really flew home clear late. This horse at 80 cents a dollar, just stalked. She needs something more late, but she ran just as good as the winner. Not a bad race in defeat. And then debut at July at Saratoga over the mile 16th in the main special weight. Winning by a half a length. She was a little bit wide, but again, she flew home clear. A very good, strong run. Coming here, training well here in New York. I'm going to give her a shot on the ticket. Even the 1-horse Lake Victoria, we all remember what Mendelssohn did here in 2017, winning from the inside this Breeders' Cup. Coming here today, Ryan Moore, Aiden O'Brien break from the inside. Wouldn't surprise me if this horse steals it here. She ran the Chevrolet Park at Newmarket over the 6 back in September, where she won by 3 lengths, and on the front end she flew home clear late. 1-2, a good run. Prior to that, in the Morgulaire Stud over the 7, she won by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and she didn't have the best beginnings. If she breaks like that today, she's not going to win, because she's going to have 13 other horses coming over on her. But she didn't break so well, but she had time to settle well. She quickened up nicely, and she got the job done. And then the Group 3 Sweet Solario Newmarket in August, she won by 2 lengths, and on the front end she had to be used a lot that day, but getting up that final hill in the July course, but she still won quite easily. Coming here, she has some forwardly pace. I could use her on the ticket, and I definitely am going to use her on the ticket here. But to recap my selections now for the 8th from Del Mar, it's the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. We're going to take as the top selection of the 3-horse here, Coretto. Give kudos to the 6-horse Virgin Clado and the 1-horse Lake Victoria. 3-6-1-4 Super, 3-6-1 in the multi-race. Let's get to the featured 9th race on the program. They're all feature races, but this 9th race, you're going to have your Derby favorite right after this one for next year. The 9th event from Del Mar, it is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It's a Grade 1 event going for a $2 million purse. Races for 2-year-olds here in this OG Breeders' Cup race. 10 horses are entered here. Don't think right now we have at Wednesday night we have a scratch in this one, but that could change. It seems like last year or the year before we've always these scratches that Breeders' Cup have been getting. It just seems like they're having more and more, which is good. You need to have the welfare for the the horses, but always will look out for those scratches. But 10 horses entered to go the 1,700 meter journey, or mile 16th on the main track. I'm going to go with the 4-horse Ferocious. It's top selection. 4-1-10-5 for me in the superfecta. 4-1-10-5 super. Top selection, 4-horse Ferocious. 2-year-old colt by Flatter here. Gustavo Delgado trains. Javier Castellano gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Grade 1 Breeders for Churda Keelan, and over the mile 16th on the 5th of October, he finished second by 5.5 lengths that day. East Avenue ran terrifically on the front and going away with it with a lot left in the tank. This horse just was very rambunctious in the gate. He had a very not so easy trip, got bumped around a few times. For him to get behind East Avenue after all said and done, I think it was a half bad race. He's gonna have to settle well in the gate. If he settles well in the gate and gets good position, he can find a trip to win. He ran 2 back in the hopeful at Saratoga over the 7th in September, finishing second by a half length behind Chancer McPatrick. This horse sat a little bit closer than Chancer McPatrick. He quickened up nicely. he got caught by the winner who ran terrifically, but not a bad race in the feet. And then on debut at Saratoga, going 6 on the mud in early August, he put on a show, winning by 7 3/4 lengths with 96 Beyer. Not the best beginnings for him to fly home clear. That was a good run. He's training at Keeneland since the last run quite nicely. He's run competitive Beyers. He goes up, I think, a lot with 2 turns. If he could settle well, he could win. They think highly of him. They bought him earlier this year at the OBS March 2024 sale for $1.3 million. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket. I think the 1-horse East Avenue wouldn't surprise me if he steals it on the front end for Brennan Walsh and Tyler Gaffalione. Most recently in the Breeders' Futurity over the mile 16th in October, he won by 5 1/4 lengths that day, and he basically, walked home. That was a good run. First-time winners, first-time stakes quality horses. At Ellis, going 6 in the main special weight at the P Patch, he won by 8 lengths. And again, on the front end, he did terrifically. He's proven he can win on the front end quite easily. Today, if he doesn't, get to the lead so easy, can he win from off the pace? That's going to be his biggest question, but good horses can do that. He's bred to go the mile through and through. He's training well since the last race. At 5-2, I think he could win. And the 10-horse Chancer McPatrick. This track isn't the world's, closers can win here, but it's hard to do. This 2-year-old colt by Mackenzie for Chad and Flavian, he won off the pace or coming from behind in the Champagne over the mile on Aqueduct, win by 2 3/4 lengths. He was stupidly wide, but he had the long sustained run to get it done. A very good run. Kind of like Sierra Leone runs, it seems. Prior to that, in the hopeful over the 7 at Saratoga at 5.5 to 1, he didn't get out of the gate so clearly, and Flavian lost the yards a little bit early on, but he settled well after that. He quickened up nicely, and he flew home a good run with the 88 Beyer, and then on debut going 6.5 in July, winning by a length that day. He was again stupidly wide, but he had the turn of foot to win. He's training well at New York at Belmont, the training track. Like I said, he's run 3 terrific races. Beyers may increasing. He gets better with the longer trips. It wouldn't surprise me if he wins, but this track does not play towards closers, so that's my biggest question with him. I think Ferocious and East Avenue will find a better way on the front end. He can win. I'll use him on the ticket, but I do think the other 2 horses are more likely winners, but it's going to be a very good juvenile this year. But to recap my selection for the 9th from Del Mar now, it's the Grade 1 Old G Classic Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We're going to go take the 4-horse Ferocious, the top selection. Give kudos to the 1-horse East Avenue and the 10-horse Chancer McPatrick. 4-1-10-5 Super, 4-1-10 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 10th event now from Del Mar, the nightcap on day 1 of the Breeders' Cup meeting at Del Mar. It is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. It's a Grade 1 event going for $1 million purse. Races for Colton Geldings, 2-year-olds here. Field of 16 horses entered. The 8-horse Minaret Station will be withdrawn. The 14-horse Tenacious Leader will be withdrawn. 15 Sabretooth withdrawn. And the 16-horse Kale's Angel withdrawn. So we'll be down to a field here of 12 horses heading to the Jimmy Durante Turf Course, a 1,600-meter journey or mile on this turf course. I always say if they can run a mile 16th in these races at Del Mar or any track that's hosting the Breeders' Cup or even a mile and 1/8, I always say they should make the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf at a mile and 1/8. And, because a lot of these horses, it seems like they're cutting back in trip from their previous races. And a lot of these horses, I think, can get the longer trip. But that's something if I was ever, had something to say, why don't they just increase this trip a little bit longer? And plus, you get a longer run to the first term, especially here at Del Mar. But with that being said, I like the 5-horse Zulu Kingdom as a top selection. 5-11-12-4 for me in the superfecta. 5-11-12-4 Super, top selection 5-horse Zulu Kingdom, 2-year-old Ridgeling by 10 Sovereigns here. Chad Brown trains this one. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Grade 2 Pilgrim at Aqueduct on a very yielding turf course on mile 16th, 20th of September, and he won by a neck that day. And from an outside trip, he got good position. It was a little bit wide late, but he got the job done. Game performance for this horse. It seems like when he wins here stateside, he doesn't want to win by a lot, but he got the job done that day. Coming here to fast ground to suit him well. He's drawn well. He should get good position. Flavian knows this track very well. He's leading rider here at Del Mar in the past. I'm going to give him a shot to win. He ran 2 back in the with anticipation at the Spa over the mile 16th on the inner 29th of August. He won by a neck that day, and he had a small group of horses that day, facing only 5. Today he's facing 13 or 12, 11 others. But he basically stalked all around the race course. He quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. A good performance for him that day, for it being his first start stateside. Prior to that, he ran in the at Saint Cloud in Paris over the 7 in a main race on soft ground, won by 3 1/4 lengths on the front end from a tracking trip. He won in cruise control. He's done everything right so far. He's had good trips from where he's drawn. He's drawn well here today. Training well on the train track of Belmont. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket. It's going to be hard for the 11 horse to find a trip to win, but I think he can. The 11 horse New Century for Andrew Balding and Ocean Murphy, this trio colt by Kamiko here. He ran most recently at Woodbine on the EP Tail Lawn, a mile in the Summer Stakes, and he won by 1 1/4 lengths. Wasn't the world's deepest Summer Stakes like we've had in seasons past, but he didn't break so well. He had a very wide sustained run, and he got the job done. A good performance, 93 by her first start stateside, wasn't bad at all. They ran the horse at Salisbury and Lightning Fast Ground in August over the mile in the Stonehenge Stakes, where he won by half a length that day. And again, he won on the front end quite easily there. And then the Pat Edery at Ascot over the 7, he finished second by 2 1/4 lengths. He didn't get out of the gate so clearly. It just kind of was a little lackadaisical, but that was a changing point. He really looked like a different horse in the Stonehenge. Came to North America and really became a better horse and really improved the line. Coming here, he's going to have to find a wide, a good trip to close up into. But I think, he's not going to be a horse that's going to be with him early on. He's going to be from a little bit behind. And I think, a little bit of wide trip, it's not as bad as other horses, I would say, like a Tracker, coming here from the back of the pack. He could win at 5-2, but it's not the ideal post draw. I think, the horse that's really going to have a horrible post draw, he could win, but it's going to be even worse for him is the 12 horse Maury City for William Buick and Charlie Appleby and Godolphin. He has not the best of post draws. He's going to be the kind of tracking horse, and he's going to have to leave to get good position. Most recently in the Vincent O'Brien National Stakes at the Kerr over the 7 in September, he finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths that day, and he just couldn't get there late. He just kind of yielded, but he ran his heart out that day. Prior to the Vintage at Goodwood over the 7, he won by 1 3/4 lengths and liked every bit of the fast going. Had a bit of a trouble trip going into the lane, but he still got the job done going away. And then behind Whistle Jacket in the July Stakes, he finished 3rd by 2 1/4 lengths behind her. He just kind of stalked and just couldn't quicken up like Whistle Jacket. But coming here to a longer trip, I think a mile around 2 turns should suit him well. He could win. I would use him on the ticket, but the question with him is, can he get a good trip from post 12? It's going to be hard, but he has ability to win here. Even the 4 horse Alcudera for James Doyle and Godolphin. This horse ran the Summer Stakes most recently at Woodbine over the mile, where he finished second behind New Century that day. Again, gaining a lot of ground, a little bit bumpy in the lane, but he got down the race course well. He got to the other side of New Century in the Pat Edery before that at Ascot, where he basically won on the front end going down the straightaway there on fast ground. And then the Coventry at Ascot, and during the Royal Meeting, he finished 5th by length that day, and he moved a little bit late, but he still needs something more. He was very, heavily raced at the beginning of the season. As the summer's gone on, he's been a little bit more lightly raced. Coming to this race, he's drawn well, training well keenly. I'm going to give him a shot here at 4-1 on the ticket. He could definitely win, and this very wide open nightcap to end off the pick 4s. So let's use him here. But to recap my selection for the 10th race from Del Mar here on day 1 of the Breeders' Cup meeting, it is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. We're going to take as a top selection the 5 horse Zulu Kingdom. We're going to go 5, 11, 12, 4 Super, 5, 11, 12, 4 Super, and we're going to use all 4 of those horses in the pick 4 to end it off here. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me tomorrow for some more Breeders' Cup previews from Del Mar. Good luck, everybody.